Congressman Markwayne Mullin, who is on the House Intel Committee. Sir, thank you for coming on. We've obviously we're seeing a big move tonight. Your thoughts?
Yes, sir. We've been expecting this. We were told early on that this is going to happen. In fact, I expected it to happen before the 21st.
Yeah.
So I had a little bit of hope there that this wouldn't take place. But we knew that it was almost imminent that it was going to happen. You know, when we start seeing Putin's aggressiveness there, he really doesn't have any other play, because sanctions isn't really going to do much to him. That's not what he's going after here. When you start looking at what Russia's economy is like, it's in the tank. It's the size of Italy. The ruble is absolutely junk. It's worthless.
Yeah.
And in his play here is to control the economy in Europe, and he does that by controlling the energy sector. And he's controlling the energy sector by getting the second largest supply or deposit of fossil fuels in Europe when he grabs Ukraine. And when he does that, he's going to stronghold Europe and basically control their economy, because their economy and our economy is driven by the reliability and functionality of our energy that we can supply at an affordable cost. And so it's a strong play on his move. It's unfortunate that we have a weak president that's in place right now that doesn't believe in peace through strength. Instead, he believes in pandering to them and appease them, which you can't do. They only believe in one thing, and it's strength.
What would, if this would have been prevented, how would that have happened? To make this,
first of all, we don't back ourselves in a corner. You know, when Biden took office and he immediately reversed all the policies that Trump put in place, and then said he's going to end basically fossil fuels inside the United States by 2050, but had a goal by 2035. It put all the European countries who was depending on our LNG, which are liquefied natural gas, at notice, saying, hey, look, your ally, the United States, they're not going to be able to supply that energy that you need, and my gas pipe is. And so we allowed him to play into a perfect storm. And then when we had the ability to show strength in Afghanistan, which I believe we should have got out of Afghanistan, but in the way that Trump had it set up to do, by having a organized and a methodical withdrawal, not just running for the hills. When we did that, we showed that we didn't have and Biden didn't have a good hand on his military, or even trusted them, or even tried to show some type of strength in leading. He showed weakness there. So when we started showing weakness in those areas, and then we showed weakness towards China, and then when he said that he was looking to build troops, you know, on the border of Ukraine and Crimea, what we did is we sent troops to Eastern Europe to show what? To show that we're trying to be strong in the manner, and all it was just appeasing his appetite for strength through Putin. We didn't do anything. It showed that we weren't willing to really be strong. When he said that we were going to, when Biden said that we were going to use sanctions, Putin is no idiot. He already had that mindset and already knew that that was what card we were going to play. But he also knows that once he controls the energy sector of Europe, and if the United States isn't going to be able to counter that with our exports to be able to feed the energy sector, then they are the only game left in town. And so what we need to do is go back to the policies we had before, from where Reagan put it into play when we ended the Soviet Union,
yep,
to what Trump put in play by showing a very strong foreign policy.
Congressman, our last guest made a very interesting comparison to the annexation of the Sudetenland. Obviously what started, or one of the first big moves by the Nazis and the precipice of World War II, basically taking back an area that Germany said, hey, these are our people, they speak our language, we're going to take this back. We saw where that led to and how far that got. Do you share that? Do you share that that's a very similar moment to what we're seeing right here?
Well, I believe history has a tendency to repeat itself, and we should pay attention to history. We see it through World War I, we've seen it through World War II, and we're seeing this take place now. I don't believe anybody listening thinks that Ukraine is going to be able to stand up to Russia. I think the ambassador's face when he was speaking a while ago spoke highly of what he was saying. Now the question is, does Putin stop with Ukraine? I don't think so. I think he's already looking at Georgia and Tel Aviv. I think he's looking at Azerbaijan, and he's looking at other countries to bring back, because his whole goal, remember, he's ex-KGB. He wants to restore Soviet Union, and he's going to do everything he can to do that. And at some point, our NATO nations, our European allies are going to have to wake up and see this, and sooner the better for them. Now, I don't believe we need to be the first one in the fight either. I believe this is Europe's fight, but we need to be allies to them. And if they take the lead in this, then we need to be prepared to back them up.
We need to be prepared to back them up. I asked earlier to another guest, I got this feeling today when I watched Pelosi and everyone else get up there and talk about how dire this is and how bad it is. You start to get this feeling like there is going to be a push for potential engagement by this country if this gets as bad as it could. Your stance on that?
Well, if we had a better president and better generals in charge right now, I would say yes. But and what I mean by that is I don't trust General Milley. I definitely don't trust General McKenzie, and I have no faith in Secretary Blinken. And Biden has proven himself completely. I don't think it's an administration that we want to go to war with. I hate to say that. Yeah. But if we make that decision, if Congress makes that decision, because that is not that obviously the president can't do that. That's Congress's role there. Then we have to be willing to fight a war, which I don't want to do that. I want to make it very clear. Anybody that's been downrange before understands this is not a position we want to find ourselves in. But if we have to, and I mean have to, and I mean that with everything inside of me, have to, then we cannot be fighting a political war. We need to fight an all-out war, and that means we need to let our troops do their job.
26% of Americans right now say we should be involved in this thing. That's not very many. That's 1 out of 4.
No, and I believe they're probably seeing the same thing I do. We don't want to do this unless we have to, absolutely have to. And that's why I said that our allies in Europe should take the lead in this, and then we just need to be prepared to back them up.
Let's see if anybody does. The Europeans, the rest of NATO doesn't seem to like to do a lot. We've seen that time and time again. Congressman, thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you, sir. Bye.